It's so funny. I actually recently posted a TikTok about like a 2-minute video on like the story, and I was like how I turned partying into philanthropy, which I feel like is like my new thing right now. Like party girl to philanthropist. It's like have fun and like inspire people to like provide an experience so that people can enjoy themselves while also making community, while also giving back to our own community. So I am very much like a lover girl, and I love to connect with people. And so I have gotten myself in certain situations where I'm like, I see the potential in working with either a vendor or someone, and then it just ends up not being like a good relationship, or it can feel very transactional. And I get part of it's business too. Like you got to do what you got to do to get that bag. But for me, I'm like, I put so much heart into this. Like I want us all to be friends. And so I've just had to like really learn to like start protecting myself, protecting my energy, protect like my experience in all this. And it's so hard because I don't like to gatekeep. I want to like share everything with everyone. But it's hard. Not everyone has like good intentions. So.
And we are back on The Rodriguez Show. And I have a very special guest for this episode. You might have been to one of her events all over Southern California. She's got a screening of the Selena movie coming up April 16th at the Frida Cinema in downtown Santa Ana. Valeria, how's it going?
Hello, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for making the time to stop by.
Of course.
Like I was telling you before, I've seen your events happen for a couple years now, and they just look popping. It's really fun and exciting.
Thank you.
I want to take you back to the beginning. How did you get started doing that?
Yeah, so I actually hosted my first Latina event, I think back in 2022, when we were kind of like adjusting back from like COVID and like hangouts were a thing again. And I was just like really lacking community. I think I only had 2 Latina friends at the time, and one of them lived in Victorville, which is where I'm from.
Gotcha.
So I didn't get to do like day-to-day life with her. And I was just like really craving that community. So I just randomly hosted like a small little like sip and shop at like a local boutique. And that was my first time like just reaching out to sponsors. Shout out to Madre Mezcal de la Calle and Ceremonia. They were just like, yeah, let us know how many people. And I'm like 100. And then I think like 20 people came, which is fine. But it was cool. Like numbers to me don't matter. It's just like the energy. And so from then on, I was like, okay, this is cool. But I feel like I kind of want to like pivot community events in a different way.
So where have you grown up here, or you said you're from Victorville? So at what point did you move to Southern California?
I moved down here in 2011, and I didn't know what I was doing. I went to OCC for like 1.5 years, and then I dropped out.
Gotcha.
And I never went back to school, but I started a photography business, and from that it turned into like content creation, and then from that it turned into like events, and I still do all 3, which is crazy. But I guess moved down here for more opportunities.
Gotcha. So you said you did your first event, and it wasn't that many people that came, but like how did you decide, okay, I'm going to keep doing this on a regular basis?
Yeah, I kind of like the following year, so in 2023, I did an art show, and actually like down the street, one of the warehouses over here, and I was hosting it with a non-Latina, which is fine, but it was when we were going through artists and like, okay, who do we want to feature? I noticed that there was like a disconnect and like a lack of awareness of like what kind of artists and creatives do we want involved in this. So I was like bringing in like all like Latino, Black creatives, Asian artists, and just like sending them to her. And we had like a very different sheet of who we wanted to represent. So we kind of met like halfway, and it ended up being like a really successful night. And we were supposed to have like a food vendor come who's one of my friends, and he ended up throwing out his back literally the night before. And I got like my favorite taco truck that's like parked down the street from my house, literally parking their big ass camioneta like down the alley. And they were just like selling out of there, and people were like stoked about that. So definitely memorable night. But yeah, so that was like kind of 1 year later. And then I was like, okay, but I want this to look different, because I think the energy was good, but I feel like the type of people that went, it still was not it. And at the time I wasn't like fully focused on like, I want to like, I mean, my events are meant to be inclusive, but I was just still craving more of a Latino draw. I'm like, okay, how do I do this? I'm like, each year I was like testing a little bit how it would look.
Nice. So like you said, like there was a situation where you couldn't get the food vendor to come the day before. Does that happen a lot where you're like, oh my God, there's like a wrench in this whole system? Like, how does that?
With vendors, yes.
Okay.
With vendors, yes. Which actually the past few events I've been doing, I haven't had any because I'm like, it's too stressful. And like, I want to support that, but it's like sometimes it turns into more of like a market rather than an event. And so it's just hard, but usually with vendors, I'll have a few people drop out like the night before, and I'm like, I love my job. I love my job.
Yeah, when we used to do more for the radio show, like do live events, it was always like, okay, what's going to happen?
Oh my
gosh. And like
gosh.
the whole day I'm like stressed out.
No, literally. Up until it's like happening, but even then you're on host mode and you're just like, I still can't relax.
So it doesn't get easier? You're telling
It doesn't get easier. I just turn it on though. I like fake it, and then at the end of the night, my friends know. They're like, she's done. She needs a break.
No, and that's what it's happened to me when we do like anniversary shows. Like at the end, I'm just like, okay, I'm done.
Yes.
You're like, you should be way happier. I'm like, no, I'm happy that it's done, that I'm accomplished. But that's it.
It's almost like the work leading up to it is like, I don't want to say more fun than the actual event, but that's like, for me, the process is the fun part. And then when it finally happens, I'm like, oh, like, I don't know how to feel because that was a lot of work and my brain's all over the place, but it's still good.
And I'm sure people are like, oh, that was so great. Like they tell you how great it was.
Yeah,
and then it feels good. So more recently, you started incorporating more nonprofits into your events.
Yes.
So how did you come up with that, or how did you decide to do that?
Yeah, it's so funny. I actually recently posted a TikTok about like a 2-minute video on like the story, and I was like, how I turned partying into philanthropy, which I feel like is like my new thing right now. Like party girl to philanthropist. Honestly, it started, I feel like the idea and how it came to be happened last summer specifically, when everything started going down with ICE and like kidnappings were getting like, and it was in Orange County, and I'm like, oh my God, I live here, and I felt very helpless. And honestly, shout out to a few of my friends who are also activists in the area. Like they really inspired me. They don't, I guess, have the platform that I do because they prefer to like lay low, or they just have like normal jobs, but they do inspire me a lot with their activism. So I have to shout them out for that. And it just came to the point where I was like, okay, I'm a Latina. I do have a platform. How can I mix the two? How can I catch like and draw people's attention to come and care about this like local nonprofit, or to care about donating to this, aside from sharing a link or sharing a flyer, because our attention spans are so bad. Like people don't read flyers anymore. So that was kind of when I was like, okay, maybe I'll just like work with this nonprofit and see if like we can, and this is when I was at Semi-Tropic Wines, and I asked the owners, like, can we like donate like a percentage? It could even come from my cut. Like, I don't care. And they're like, yeah, like as long as they're okay with it. Cause it's like it feels kind of like contradicting to have like alcohol and partying like be for like nonprofits. But I was like, the community that I draw and I have here, it's like, I feel like for Latinos, it's like, it's not even like considered partying. It's like, we're just hanging out and like drinking and listening to cumbia. It's very like natural for us. And I feel like to a lot of like non-Latinos, maybe they're like, oh my God, that's like so crazy. But I talked to the nonprofit and they're like, hell yeah, we're so down. Like, and we came up with the term like fundraising. Like we're like, it doesn't have to be this like stiff, like let's have a gala and like super formal. Like let's just like have fun and like inspire people to like provide an experience so that people can enjoy themselves while also making community, while also giving back to our own community. So
yeah, and I feel like ever since like 2020, like with the climate, the political climate and stuff, how stuff is changing and it's getting scarier. Like those spaces that you're creating are kind of important, because you can, even though you're donating to a good cause and it's part of a good cause, you're also like, let me turn my brain off and have fun for a little bit, because it's so scary out there. You know?
Totally. Yeah. We need to experience joy together, as like weird as it feels during these like really heavy times. I think my first event at the Frida last summer was literally the week of all the protests out here. And I went to a protest the night before and like got sprayed with like gas. And like the next day I was at the Frida and I was like, and then I talked to the Frida too, and they were down to like also like work with a local nonprofit. So yeah, it's like, it is a weird feeling to be like, well, we should be experiencing joy too, because it is very easy to just like sit in it and be miserable. But
yeah, no, and even like you said, when ice was last summer, it was just scary to get out there, and a lot of people that like were throwing events were like, should I even do this? But I mean, I'm glad they still went through it. They still went through with the event because it's like I said, we need that, you know. So now you're at the point where you've done these events for a while, and people know you for that. So you do feel like a responsibility to keep going, like.
I do, yeah. I feel a huge responsibility. It's kind of funny. I feel like I guess my life has been public and on social media for a really long time. So for me, I'm just used to it. But I get messages from girls who are like, I'm too shy, or like, are even shy about sending me a message and being like, you inspire me, whatever. And like, honestly, to me, I'm like, I'm just glad that like what I'm doing is like connecting with people. Like, I try not to like get my ego involved. I don't need like a pat on the back for the things that I'm doing, but I'm just like, okay, if I could be like a connecting factor for people, like we all have different strengths. If I could be a connecting factor for people who don't maybe have the same networking and like forwardness as strengths, like maybe I can just like do that and then like connect them with the right people where they get to use their strengths. So
yeah, no, and that's what it is. A lot of times, like I see the flyer and I'm like, okay, I want to go, but I'm like, what's it gonna be like? I'm so nervous. Social anxiety kicks in.
No. Okay, and I've literally been to so many events in LA that are for Latinos where my social anxiety does kick in, and like normally I don't get anxious. Like anxiety's scared of me in public settings, but I was like, it just there has been times where I've experienced a very like cliquey energy, especially with like LA for some reason. I don't know what it is about OC and LA Latinos where sometimes it's just like we bump heads or something. But and I just like remember taking note of that and being like, okay, I don't want people to feel like that at my events. And so if I do see someone like coming alone, I'll like run up to them and be like, come hang out with me and my friends, because I know how intimidating like it can be. Yeah. So
especially like somebody that's trying to like go put themselves out there, you know. So if you had to describe it to somebody, like what is the vibe at one of your events typically like?
Yeah, so typically for like, I mean, I do a lot of cumbia events. So just expect a lot of like dancing, a lot of like laughing. I like to laugh. I like to be silly. So yeah, just like providing that space. I feel like people get like in their head so easily when it comes to dancing, where I'm like, no one cares. No one's watching. Yeah. It's not that serious, you know?
So you said cumbia nights, karaoke, movie screenings. Like, how do you decide? Like, okay, I'm going to do this at this time. Is it just like going with the flow?
For the most part, it's going with the flow. I try to have like one, I guess, like dancing, at least one dancing type of event, so that it either be cumbia or I just did a Brazilian disco one in Long Beach a few weeks ago. I try to do those once a week just to keep the party flow going. And then I've done like wellness events like Pilates and like we did a little workshop called Sana Sana that was like more for like mental and like physical health, which involved like saunas and cold plunging last fall. Because I am like a wellness girly too. I'm a girl who parties, but I'll wake up the next day and like get my ass to Pilates too. So I feel like I have all these like little pockets that I'm interested in. And so I try at least once a month to like hit those like little pockets. I know not everyone is like, I want to go party and dance. So I'm like, okay, like how can I make space for like the wellness and Pilates girlies, or how can I make space for like the artsy girlies, you know? So that's kind of, I guess, how I rationalize it.
And when you think of this stuff and you're trying to put it together, it's just a lot of like emailing. Is it a lot of cold emails? Like just like taking a chance and be like, I'm gonna reach out to this person to see if they want to get involved.
At the start it can be, but I try really hard to be consistent with who I work with. So like the Frida, I've had an amazing relationship with them for a while now. So I definitely don't experience coldness once I've worked with them. Honestly, it's more with sponsors and brands where like sometimes I won't get an answer back, or which is crazy because I do content creation, so I'm like in that world. But yeah, a lot of brands, like, which I get, like times are just hard like in this economy. So like I know a lot of people just, they don't have like the time or like the funding to just like throw things at events. But honestly, for the most part, I've worked with like really amazing like nonprofits and like spaces, bars, people.
Nice. Yeah, and that makes sense. Like, it's just a matter of, like, if they connect the two, that it'll work out.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, you know, now, like I said, you've been doing it for a while. Like, what's the hardest lesson you've learned throwing these events?
Ooh. Honestly, I don't want this to sound selfish, but, like, protecting my energy with who I involve myself with or who I work with. I am very much, like, a lover girl and I love to connect with people. And so I have gotten myself in certain situations where I'm like, I see the potential in working with either a vendor or someone, and then it just ends up not being like a good relationship, or it can feel very transactional. And I get part of it's business too. Like, you got to do what you got to do to get that bag. But for me, I'm like, I put so much heart into this. Like, I want us all to be friends. And so I've just had to like really learn to like start protecting myself, protecting my energy, protect like my experience in all this. And it's so hard because I don't like to gatekeep. I want to like share everything with everyone. But it's hard. Not everyone has like good intentions. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to get into specifics, but it's like, how do you recover from like somebody doing that? Like,
I mean, I honestly, I just cry and I give myself a pep talk. I'm like, all right, back on the saddle, like, let's go. And a lot of my close friends too, like, I really value their, I don't want to say judgment. That feels like such a harsh word, but like sometimes they're able to see things with a different perspective than I am. And they all tell me like, dude, you're too nice. Like, you got to like put your foot down. And so it's nice having input from people who know me really well, who I know have good intentions for me. Cause then I'm able to like kind of step outside a little bit and be like, okay, maybe I should protect myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
Be a little bit more guarded with like so-and-so or like this concept or whatever. So
yeah, it makes sense. Like, once you create a platform, like even with the Rodriguez show, like there was a point where everybody's like, okay, I want to be on. And it's like, okay, at this point now I got to slow down and like be more intentional with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know? So now we talked about the hardships. Now, like, let's talk about some positive stuff. What's the most, like, not favorite, I guess maybe favorite. I know that they're all great, but like, which one would you say is the most special so far that you've done?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, lately, it was the Brazilian disco night I did in Long Beach at Bamboo Club with this DJ Little Sun and another DJ, Captain Planet, and Michael, who's Little Sun. They're all vinyl. And my mom's from Brazil, and I grew up going to Brazil as much as I went to Mexico to see my dad's side of the family out there. And so I feel very connected to those sides. And Brazilian music is just like kind of hard to like, or communities, I should say, are hard to find out here. And so Michael, the DJ, he started this like dance party. He's not Brazilian, he's Salvadorian, but he just has like a huge appreciation for disco and funk. And so we were just like, hey, like, let's try with like me like co-hosting this and see what happens. And there are a few Brazilians there, but it felt really cool because I feel like it's such a specific type of music that the people who went to that event, like, it's because they were geeking out over the music and like they wanted to like dance to that. And what's crazy is that night we had a random percussionist just like walk in, and I had been looking for a percussionist for my other events. Literally like the week before I was looking for one, and they were so expensive, and I was like, okay, I can't spend this, you know? And then he walks in and starts drumming to like the music. And it honestly made me feel like I was in Brazil because everyone was dancing. I had the girlies on stage with me, and like my ass was on the drum. Like, look at this guy. Like, I was just like, this is so fun. It's such a rich culture. And so it was really cool to kind of like open my world or like experience like my childhood in a sense for a night. And it was very different than a lot of the cumbia things that I do. Different people too. So it was really special.
Wow. Yeah, that's it all came together like fate with that guy just walking in.
I know. I was like, what? It was great. People were like, we thought you hired him. I was like, no, he just walked in.
Yeah. Nice. And you said it was Long Beach, right? So that's, I feel like you said about LA and OC, but Long Beach is like the perfect spot in between.
Yes.
That I've done like one event there, but it's great. Like it's so cool.
And I feel like people actually like care out there. I feel like people are very intentional. The community's strong, and I love that. I'm like, I want people to like care about what they're doing and where they're going, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like it's tough to find that in Orange County. It's in Santa Ana, down in Santa Ana, I would say it's like one of the most popular spots or one of the bigger spots where there's like more culture like that, but it's kind of spread out in Orange County like that.
Totally, yeah.
So how did you decide, like, okay, Santa Ana or Long Beach, like when you're going to make an event, like how do you decide where you're going to do it, or Orange County in general?
Yeah, it honestly depends on the bar and like maybe who I'm co-hosting with. I network a lot with DJs, and I would say at this point I have my DJs. Actually, I feel like all of them are from Long Beach. And so it just depends, like, whether they want to come out here or I want to go over there, which bar we're going to be at. It's kind of all over the place, but I love being in both. And it's, like, really fun when I get to see faces who, like, attend both events. I'm like, yes.
So you said DJs, and speaking of one of my favorite DJs, Gucci Mar, she's going to be doing a set at the Frida Cinema, April 16th at the Selena screening. So what made you want to do this one?
Yeah, so can I share, like, a funny story about this?
Yes,
because this event was crazy to plan, like, last minute. So originally, I don't know if you're familiar with Good Luck Vinyl, based out of Long Beach. He hosts, like, vinyl listening sessions once a month, and he's a DJ too. He's one of my best friends. Him and I were going to do something at the Frida with a specific movie, and I'm only not going to share because I think we're going to be able to get the licensing for it pretty soon. But it's a really big movie, colorful, beautiful movie, great soundtrack. And he was excited to do vinyl for it. And then we had it locked in. I had different vendors for this one. And we had, like, the date locked in and everything. And then the Frida emails me and they're like, this has never happened. But, like, the head of Sony just, like, randomly quit, and, like, they can't approve of any, like, licensing or anything. And so they're like, we have to pick a different movie. And I was like, okay, like, all right, let's pivot, which is also, like, stressful with events. I feel like you have to, like, think quick and, like, strategize. So I was chatting with Isaac, and I was talking to the Frida during all this, and they're like, what if we do Selena? We're planning on showing Selena anyway. What if you do an event on her birthday? I talked to Isaac about it, and he was just like, from Good Luck Vinyl, and he was like, I don't have a lot of Latin American records. Like, I don't know if I can do it. And I was like, okay, like, let's save that concept then for the original movie that we were going to go with. I'm going to pivot and I'm going to figure this out. And because it's on Selena's actual birthday, I'm like, that energy is going to be so crazy and so cool, because obviously she's still an icon to, like, a lot of our lives. Like, and so I was like, okay, like, how can we pivot? And then I was like, I actually, like, want to make this event, like, 100% for, like, a different nonprofit, which is one that had reached out to me around the same time. And they're a grassroots nonprofit, so they literally depend on, like, whatever funding people decide to give. And so I was like, wait, you're emailing me at the same time I'm pivoting and losing my shit. Like, how do we, like, let's connect. And so I ended up talking to them. I was like, are you cool if we, like, do this event and, like, donate proceeds to you? They said yes. I figured out new vendors. I asked the girls, like, are you down to give 100%? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. One of the vendors is Ponte Tus Moños. They do the hair braiding in Orange County, which I know that's huge in LA. It's super cool. But it's hard to get LA vendors out here. And these girls have been, like, messaging me, like, they've been wanting to do something. And I was like, okay, like, let's do it. So we're going to do that, like, an hour and a half before the movie actually starts. Then we have these Abolish ICE pins that my friend has made, and she was actually featured in an art show that I did last year for Hispanic Heritage Month. And so I was like, okay, we need music though. Like, I was like, I love just having, for me, anytime I go anywhere, I'm always listening to music, and maybe not everyone cares that much, but I'm just like, I need to have someone that, like, I can trust. And I met Mar recently at an event at Grasshopper in Long Beach that was also fundraising. And we had, like, a cute moment where, like, we were chatting. We were like, you're so cute. Oh, you're so cute. And I was like, dude, I'm just going to, like, message her and see what she says. And she is, like, honestly so awesome, great energy. She's like, yeah, I'm down. And I was like, oh, my God. So it all came. And I think she's local. I think she's Santa Ana, right? Yeah. So that's even cool, because it's literally, like, local girls, like, running this show and giving back. And so I was just like, all right, let's do this. And the Frida's, like, super excited. So
it's funny, yeah, because it's like when I saw that Gucci Mar was going to be here, I was like, this is a perfect fit. Like, I can't believe this is the first time they work together.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, okay, like, this is going to be a party. This is going to be fun.
That's funny. Shout out to Gucci Mar. Yeah, she's just a talented artist. I've seen her when she started rapping into how she's, like, DJing now, and such a cool evolution. And she killed it. She kills it. So.
Yeah, she just has good energy too. She's a Pisces, and I'm a Pisces moon. So when I saw it was her birthday recently, I was like, we're sensitive girls. That's how we connect.
So that's going to be Thursday, April 16th at the Frida Cinema in downtown Santa Ana. So get your tickets and go do that. That's so fun. So you mentioned you're a content creator, and I feel like fashion is a big part of the content you create. So how did you discover fashion? Like, talk about a little bit about your passion for it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it started at a young age. I was just always, like, dressing up. As a little girl, I would change my outfit 3 times a day, which is funny because my daughter does the same thing, or she'll, like, grab my heels and just, like, walk around the house. My mom is a fashionista, so I feel like I just like looked up to her like when I was little, like seeing her and be like, oh, she looks cute in that. But I don't know. I feel like for me personally, like my mental health is boosted when I like feel like I'm like dressing fun or having like experimenting with my style. So for me, it's more of like a mental thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
But and I love thrifting. I love like the challenge of like re-wearing the same pieces and like figuring like how to style a piece in like 5 different ways. So
yeah, I just stopped working at a thrift store for like 2.5 years. I worked there for 2.5 years and I stopped. But like all the stuff that I got there is like had never like had a passion for fashion. I enjoyed it, but since I started working there, I'm like, this is awesome. Like every piece is intentional and you feel good about yourself.
Yes, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So like you've done so many things. You've made such an impact in your community. And what do you say to somebody that's like a little scared and they think they can't make a difference?
Oh, I would say first off, figure out what your strengths and what your weaknesses are. There are things that I can't do, and I just try to network with the people who can do it. So I would say figure that out first, because it's not going to feel natural if you're like forcing yourself to like do something that you don't feel good in or you feel like you can grow in. So start with that. And then I feel like just honestly going to events, like showing up, which is so exhausting and scary, but just like showing up, going up to people, going up to like whoever is putting it together, or the vendors, and just being like, let's network, let's connect. I feel like it's just, I was telling someone the other day who was like, I'm intimidated to go. I'm like, I felt that so many times and I've never left an event feeling like, oh, that was a waste of time. Like I always felt like I like have left with something. So take a chance, like put yourself out there, message people. Like the worst they can say is no.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I always find like the psyching up yourself to do it is like way the hardest part, because once you're there, you're just like, oh, this is not that bad. Yeah. What was I scared of? You know. So what do you look forward to now? Like what's something that you haven't done yet that you want to accomplish?
Ooh, so 2 things. I mean, I'm in the middle of accomplishing it, but I'm hosting an Earth Day event with Fairview Park Alliance, and Fairview Park is so special to me. It's like a local park trail in Costa Mesa. So I'm doing that, and Sunbum is sponsoring it, which is really cool. And Neat Coffee, local coffee shop, they're giving out free coffee to the volunteers. So I'm really excited about that because I haven't done anything with like plant restoration. So that's going to be really cool.
That's April 18th.
Yes. Which I'm hosting a cumbia night the same day. And I just
oh my God.
Crazy. But something else I want to do, I guess it's more with like content creating, or like, I guess mixing that with nonprofit work. I have just been on like crisis mode with like content creation for years now, because I'm just like, no one cares about my makeup routine when there's literally people like dying in the streets, you know? And so, but then it's also how I make a living. And I also know that like people want to know like what I'm doing with my routines, like what I'm using. So I'm testing this out, and I'm trying to see if there is a way to intermix that with like nonprofit stuff. So like if I create a reel that's like, get ready with me, or like follow me a day in the life, whatever, of like an event, because on event days I'm always doing the most and I don't know why, but like my day is always so chaotic. So kind of just like filming that, and then getting like brands to agree to like sponsor that, but also like sponsor my event. So like I'm getting paid by them, but they're also giving back to the community. So like I just want to see if there's like a way to mix my content creation with like nonprofit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, make it more meaningful to you in the end, right? Because you're like,
yeah, and it is hard because I'm like, this is how I make my like living. Like I have 2 kids. Like I also have to keep that in mind and do what feels like financially strategic for me and my household. So it's hard, but
life of a creative person.
And then there's that too. I'm like, I don't even care about this. I just want to be creative at the end of the day.
Yeah, makes sense. Definitely relate to that. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me about your events. I'm sure a lot of people are inspired. I mean, you inspired me like to just get back out there and try another event.
Hey, thank you.
Before you go, I have 2 questions. These are the fun ones that I ask. This one's specific to you first. What's a song that'll turn any event that you have into a party? Like a song that you're like, oh, when this one hits, everybody's...
It honestly depends on what the vibe of the party is. I feel like Atrévete always, like, once the girlies hear that, they stop. We're in mid-conversation. They're like, wait. And then we just, like, start dancing. I feel like that, or I was trying to think of, like, a cumbia song, too. I like a lot of Peruvian cumbia, which a lot of people aren't.
It's a little bit more specific.
It's more specific. I'm like, there's songs that get me going, but I don't know. I feel like La Niña Fresa, or I don't know, like
those
any
classic ones.
The classic ones gets people so excited.
Yeah. They probably remember from their childhood, and they're like, "Oh yeah,
it's nostalgic for sure." Yeah.
Okay, and then obviously you're a very cool person.
Oh, thanks.
But when's the first time, or that you felt that, or a prominent time in your life, you're like, I'm that person. I'm cool.
Honestly, this happened recently. I was picking up my kids from school, and my daughter was like, "Mom, are you famous?" And I was like, and she's 6. She doesn't know what Instagram or like social media is. And I was like, no, but kind of, who's saying? And she's like, oh, the kids at my school say that you look famous because of the way that you dress. And I was like, oh. And I was like, wait, I'm cool to like kindergartners? Like, that's kind of, like, that's cool. And then my son, who's 9, he was like, yeah, my friends are always saying that you're dressed so cool. You come in with your glasses. And I'm like, I don't know. For some reason, being cool to kids is like such a good feeling because they're brutally honest.
It's a lot harder.
It's a lot harder. And so I'm like, wait, you guys like me?
That's awesome. Well, shout out to you. Thank you for being here once again. They can follow you online at Valeria Metz, and I'll show it on the screen as well. Like I said, April 16th, the Selena screening at the Frida Cinema. April 18th is the Earth Day event as well. And, follow because it's always fun.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. And I'll see you guys next time. Keep it funky, keep it fresh, keep it sexy, and we're out.